We're recording in the fancy stuff. You got me in the
We,
expensive seats.
we are. We're looking good. Welcome to the AI for Everyone podcast, everybody. The reboot. You're going to notice there's another face here, so you're going to hear more than just my lovely, incredible voice. Let me welcome Mandy Shekels to the program.
Hello, everybody. I'm super excited to be here. Harrison and I have known each other, I'd say like 2006-ish, 7-ish, something around there. We were in the real estate game together, and now we are in the AI game together.
We
And
were enemies, mortal enemies. Oh, wait, I forgot something. This is the AI for Everyone podcast brought to you by. Anyway, mortal enemies back in 06, 07 era of real estate. Now we are partners. We are working together on multiple projects from Blazing Academy, a nonprofit, up to marketing and bringing AI into business development. So just lots of cool things going on. Why did you get on board to this craziness?
You know, so when real estate tanked in like the '08 era, like literally, like it was like the lights went out on real estate. And I was like, what am I going to do? And I ended up starting a software company. So I've done other things in life. I've, had an insurance company, I've owned construction companies. I've done a lot of different things. And I've always been attracted to tech. I don't know why. I always tell my family that I'm the most untechnical person that you will ever meet or encounter, as my kids try to help me through all the things. And, um, just was like, hey, I need to get in on this. And I feel like AI levels the playing field for people like me. And, it makes me smarter. It's like having a jetpack on my back, and I love it. And so I saw that Harrison was in the game, and we started talking, and I went to a few of his workshops, and I got intrigued by it, and you know, just started learning baby steps, baby steps. Now Harrison's a couple years ahead of me. I'm not gonna lie about that. He's way ahead of the learning curve, but every day I learn something new, and I'm super excited by it, and that's how I got into it.
Well, that's why I really like having you on board. Look, at Blazing Academy, we are focused on AI literacy for everyone, especially the underserved, under-resourced communities. But I think we're going to find out here in the near future, everybody's going to be underserved, under-resourced that's not learning how to use AI or what to do with it. And I love having you on board because you ground me in, you're right, because I'm in my bubble, I study it every day, I'm using it every day. It's easy to lose sight of just normal folks out there, doing their job, going around about their day, that they don't have time to do all the stuff I'm doing. And it either becomes intimidating for people to jump into because they think they have to be super technical, or they just don't feel it's important. Just another trend, another tool. I don't have time, right? I got kids. I want to go play guitar, pursue a hobby. Do I really want to spend time learning this stuff? So I think that's where you and I working together in this podcast and us talking about this stuff, we're going to get a good balance for the listener.
And I think something too that I want to address is, AI is not all, puppy dog breath and rainbows. I mean, there are a lot of people that are mad at AI, they're upset with AI, they don't want it. And um I'm prepared for that. And um I know that there are going to be a lot of people that don't welcome this with open arms, but it's here, it's coming, and I'm here to embrace it. And I'm also here to, I feel like I'm on my, divine assignment, to help people. and help people who aren't technical. I feel like that's why I'm here, and to show people that you don't have to be technical to use AI. And hopefully Harrison and I, on the podcast will be able to, go over some of those tools and share things for the beginners. And then, we'll have stuff, for advanced, people, no matter where you are, fall on the spectrum of your AI ness. So yeah, that's something super cool.
But here's where I think we'll end up meeting in the middle because we both have a passion for emotional intelligence, for behavior, for critical thinking, for asking. She asks a lot of questions, everybody. She's a
A lot,
big
a lot,
question
this
asker,
many
I guess
questions.
this way. Think of your 2-year-old coming in all the time asking questions. But we need to get back to that. And what I mean by that is I've taken all this time to learn how to use these AI tools. But at the end of the day, what I've learned is the tools don't really matter all that much. It's really applying self awareness, critical thinking, asking better questions, better defining a problem, understanding the key outcomes that you want. And this is something, along with me, that you have studied for most of your career. I apply it more to marketing. You've applied it more to sales. And I think that's where we're going to meet in the middle. And I just want the general watcher, listener to AI for everyone understand that this really is AI really is technology for the non-technical. And if you bring all of that to the table, you're going to succeed regardless of the platform or where you are in your tech savviness.
I agree. So one of the first jobs I had out of college, I worked loss prevention, and I used to sit and look at 35 cameras. We would catch shoplifters and dishonest associates. That's what we did. And one of the people, when they were training me, they said the cameras are only as good as the person watching them. And that's the same with AI. You're only as good as the prompt, you know? And so hopefully Harrison and I will be able to, you know, teach someone who doesn't know anything about AI on how to make that better prompt. How do I do that? Or, just something simple like that. And we don't want to be the I'm not saying that we can't be. Well, I don't strive to be like that super crazy nerd who's going to take over business and AI. What I strive for is, like Harrison said, it's AI for everyone. I want to teach the person who is going to put the AI prompt in, hey, I have these ingredients. What dinner can I make tonight in my kitchen? Like, that's what I strive for.
Right, and we'll talk about this in future episodes for sure, but not just AI for business, but AI in your personal life. I'm using ChatGPT right now, a project as a fitness wellness coach. So I'm on a weight loss journey, I'm on a fitness journey, a wellness journey, all kind of put together. I am using multiple apps, but I'm tying all those together into a project. And every single day, ChatGPT is coaching me, mentoring me, inspiring me, motivating me. And it's working. Like I'm having a great time doing it. I'm gamifying a process that for many of us is hell, boring. Like I'm not getting any younger, right? So recovery takes longer. I've never been one to really need a lot of motivation. But you know what? Every once in a while, even though it's not a real person, it's nice that it says, "Hey, you did a good job today. I know this isn't easy." And as a male, sometimes maybe my testosterone, my ego, I don't always want to go to the wife, I'm struggling today, or come to you and say, I'm having a bad day, and expecting people to tell me what a great job I'm doing. But you know what? Just getting that little thing from ChatGPT, it truly does make a difference.
Yeah, and hopefully people have figured out how to use their chat GPTs in the voice mode, because you can actually literally have a conversation. And I'll be having a conversation with um my chat GPT, which I have not named, by the way, and my family will make fun of me. Like, oh, you talking to your friend again? Well, yeah.
It's going to happen more and more because look, we, America, the world, really, we have a serious anxiety problem. 2020 only made it was bad going into 2020, but 2020 put it on, just hyper spaz up on anxiety. My biggest fear right now is Gen Z, because Gen Z, and I'm not picking on you, but I'm only saying that you're not great communicators. And it's because you've always had this phone. You have your own language when you text or WhatsApp or whatever. And I do think the future of AI is going to be more of a communication, speaking to it, talking with it. It's going to be integrated into everything around you, and we're going to have to be able to communicate with it better. Um, I don't know. I'm going full circle right now. It's our first episode, so we're not super focused. But I think AI has a big, it can really help with mental health. That's what I'm trying to say, mental and physical health.
So I wanna say 2 things. I'm gonna focus on the Gen Z thing. So I have a lot of kids, and really all of them. I only have 7 kids. I only have 1 kid out of the 7 who really utilizes AI or ChatGPT a lot, and he's in college. The other ones are just kinda about it, and I have a couple kids that are kinda fussy at it. And so it's interesting because you would think that the younger generations would be excited about it, and maybe it's they're threatened, they're gonna lose, not have job opportunities. I don't know, but that's been very interesting for me that someone who's 50 is more excited than they are.
Yeah, but as somebody like you're the high school kids, right? Are they really thinking about I'm not going to be employed when I'm 30? Like I don't think a kid thinks like that. Like seriously, I want you over the next few weeks to really start just asking them some different questions on we need to figure out why. Why? Like what's the true reason? Is it just they just don't want to learn something new? Is it intimidation? Is it they don't know what to do with it because they're already in their own world and it really hasn't infiltrated it much yet?
So I'm gonna ask ChatGPT right now. I'm gonna say, "My kids don't like AI. What questions should I ask them to find out why?" Ask the questions like a 6th grader.
We're gonna get to the bottom of this, everybody.
Yeah, yeah. So it's shooting some off. Is there something that makes you feel weird or scary? Do you think AI is good for people, bad, kind of both? Okay, so I'm gonna ask my kids these questions. And so the next time we talk, I'm gonna come back with these answers and see what they say.
You're right. Over 50, I'm seeing more adoption than under 20, which is again a polar opposite, at least in my mind, of what I would have expected.
Do you think that's because when we reach a certain age, we feel like we've lost our oomph and we need that jetpack on our backs to help us come up with ideas or think clearly or look at things differently, and young people don't feel like they need that?
I mean, that's a good point because, my story that I've shared before is I started feeling a bit like a dinosaur around that 2021, 2020, 2021 era. And it was ChatGPT coming online that completely opened my eyes and made me feel relevant again. It gave me clarity. It just gave me these superpowers, and I wanted to share that with other people. So that was kind of my push into AI, right? I'm feeling old, but I also look at other people case by case, right? So many older people are like, "Get off my lawn." They're bitter. They don't want to change. They don't want new stuff. And we do see that. I mean, we're starting to see more negativity from some folks in some of the
Oh,
comment
yeah.
sections
Yeah.
about AI. So we're starting to, I mean, that's to me a good sign that we're seeing that because it means AI is kind of infiltrating and taking over a lot of different places. But I think you're right. I think it's the, wow, this is going to make me sound egotistical, but I think it's us smarter people. And when I by smarter, I just mean people that are entrepreneurial, that have grit, that always are, the personal development type folks, right? We're always striving, no matter how old we are, to do more, to be better, to
Yeah.
improve ourselves. And I think this is an amazing technology for people like us. But if you're just a drone that goes to work 9 to 5 and you just want work-life balance, go home, do your hobby, play with your family, and there's nothing outside of that lifestyle. AI, what benefit does it bring to you?
Well, number 1, if they don't learn AI or become familiar with it, they're probably gonna lose their job. Um, I mean, if we're I mean, if we just talked to someone yesterday. Harrison and I literally just talked to someone yesterday, and they place people in jobs, and 20% of the jobs have already been eliminated because of AI.
Yes, and let's talk about that because we can say what they do. So this was a nonprofit that has autistic folks that they put in job placement. I was intrigued by the phone call because not even on my radar thinking about, and when I say autistic, I'm assuming by our phone call, very high functioning autistic folks that do the math, right? The calculations and all those type of things, right? Basically human supercomputers, right?
Yeah.
20% of who they employ has been cut because AI is starting to do the jobs that these very intelligent autistic folks have been doing. Wow. Like
That's
not again,
crazy.
not even on my radar to think about that set of people. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
thinking doctors, attorneys, accountants, but here's some super smart people. We might say they have a handicap or whatever, but they're brilliant in their lane, right?
Mhm.
And now they're out of a job.
So it's interesting because when before we took that call, I was looking at the call because I have a few autistic kids. I was looking at the call as a way for AI to fill in the gaps for people with autism, was how I was looking at the call. I was coming at the call from a completely different perspective because if someone with autism knows, okay, this is where I have a gap and I can use AI to fill this gap, and then I become employable.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, right there is our next business idea, Harrison.
Yeah. Dude, there's just there's opportunity right now everywhere. There's
I
opportunity.
know. I
Now, I think
know.
maybe next episode we'll touch on some of the statistics of why you need to have a sense of urgency right now with all this. But I think for this podcast, one, I wanted to make sure that we introduced Mandy. She's going to be a co-host. She's going to be on many of these videos and podcasts. Two, she is working sales for Blazing Academy, so she's going to be reaching out to a bunch of people, a bunch of you about getting training, getting into our AI specialist program, and some other things. And that both of us are no different than any of you out there right now watching or listening to this. Neither one of us are coders. We're not data scientists. We're not, these super high tech people, but we've been able to apply our wisdom to these tools. And now we perform at an incredibly high level. And we want the same for all of you out there. I can tell you I have less stress in my life. Prime example, we just did a proposal kind of thing, right? In the past, I would have been stressing about a proposal for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I would have put hours upon hours upon hours into that. Now I can do a proposal in like 3 or 4 days, right? I can do the research, I can put my thoughts together, I can kind of talk to it and brainstorm everything into the app. I can have it spit it out to me and bullet point it. And then I can say, hey, format this into something that makes sense. And what used to take me a lot of time has now been cut maybe by 50 to 75% in the process,
Oh, I say more. I say more than that.
right?
Easily
Yeah,
more.
it's a lot of help. It's a lot of help. And that used to be very stressful for me. Meeting deadlines on I'm giving a talk in New Orleans next week, and they wanted a PowerPoint 2 weeks ahead of time. Very hard to do in this space because everything's changing. Um, and normally I put a lot of work into my PowerPoints. Mandy will probably kind of make fun of me a little bit because I probably put too much work into my PowerPoints that most of you hate anyway. Um, but now instead of putting a week or two into a PowerPoint, I can a couple days. Again, thinking through my process, talking to it, putting it in key points, and then being able to generate slides and things from that.
Did you
It
use
just
AI to generate your
no
PowerPoint?
stress. I no, I did make the PowerPoint myself in Photoshop and inside of PowerPoint itself, but I used AI to formulate each point and each exercise and each thing I was doing. So that way I have a habit of, and anybody who listens to this podcast knows this, I have a habit of being all over the place from time to time. And it allows me to focus on those points and make sure that I get each point across very clearly and distinctly.
One of my kids is a speech pathologist, and she was talking to me the other day about how I think she uses AI to create PowerPoints, and she was like, "Oh, PowerPoint, that's old news." Yeah, nobody uses that anymore. So, I mean, I think there's a
Yeah,
few. Yeah,
Gamma
yeah,
is the tool.
yep. Gamma, Beautiful AI. I mean, there's Copilot. I'm just chat GPT to get all the different ones, and that's something else too. Okay, this is something I'm super passionate about. Okay, is no matter where you are on your journey. Okay, and this is something that I had to tell myself and recondition my brain. We don't expect anyone, including myself, to know all the tools and what they're capable of. And so, even if you just pick one tool that you use, and if you're like, hey, I just want to use ChatGPT to make my grocery lists and, to come up with, ideas for chores for my kids around the house. I'm tired of thinking of them. You can ask ChatGPT, oh, what's the best tool for this? And then you can learn that tool if you want to. Like there's nothing that says that you have to be learning this at a certain speed or that you have to just keep going and going and going. Just learn until you're comfortable, until you just know what you need to know and then okay, I feel good about that.
Think of the industries of coaching, mentoring, personal development, all of those different things. What you now have a coach, a mentor, a personal development person in your phone 24/7. So again, this doesn't always have to be about business. Like if my wife was a stay-at-home mom for years who homeschooled our kids, I can't even fathom now how awesome ChatGPT would have been when she was doing that and going through those processes with them.
Oh yeah.
And my youngest one was a lot like me. She a little ADD, little hard to focus, and they would have a lot of conflict. Maybe ChatGPT could have found a way to entertain her or meet her where she was or whatever. Because again, I'm very passionate about education because I was the kid that got left behind. I didn't learn within the system that was there. And now with AI, we can learn in the way that we learn because every human does learn different. There's not a one size fits
Right.
all package. And I saw that in my youngest daughter because she was me, bored. This is stupid. Why am I learning this? And it wasn't like she was lazy or asking dumb questions. She was just like, why do I need to know this? This is dumb. Right.
Right.
And guess what?
Yeah.
To this day, she'll come up to me and say, Daddy, I still never used that.
Well, yeah. I mean, we don't use 99% of the things we use and learn in school, in my opinion. But I mean, I had a conversation with a friend that she's an English teacher and she does not like AI. She thinks it's going to make people dumb. And what I told her was, I said, you've never struggled academically, to your point, Harrison, about being left behind. I mean, she's an English teacher. Like, she's freaking smart when it comes to words and language and linguistics and stuff like that. And so, for someone like Harrison and I to be able to take those tools that we have been missing that part of our brain for 50 years, it was literally like my eyesight was gone and I put on these goggles and I could see. That is literally what it was like when someone introduced AI to me.
Yeah, and people might notice maybe when I put out like LinkedIn posts, if you go back and look at my older stuff, like they're paragraphs, right? It's a lot of stuff. Like I think I'm a creative writer. But now I use AI to whittle it down and whittle it down again and whittle it down. What's the point that I'm trying to make? Because I know all of you out there do not want to read War and Peace or a huge novel. What's the point I'm trying to make? Let me make that point as quick, as simple, and as powerful as possible.
Right.
AI lets me do that, but it still maintains my voice. It was my idea, my concept. It just kept whittling it down into something that's consumable for the rest of the population, and it respects their time as well.
Yeah, and that way because nobody wants to look at a LinkedIn post and see a bunch of paragraphs that doesn't make sense. And so it's like to your point, like I'll put, I might put my thoughts into ChatGPT and be like, okay, well, here's what I'm trying to say. And ChatGPT might say, okay, what about this? And I say, no, it's too confusing. Put it in bullet points, and I need to pick the top 5. Done.
That's
And
it.
yeah, I don't see what the harm is in that.
All right. Well, I think we are coming up. We're at 25 plus minutes. I think we're good for this episode. This was awesome. I think we got some chemistry here. What do you guys think
Yeah,
out
let us
there
know.
in
Should we keep doing
digital?
these, or should we thumbs up?
Well,
Thumbs
we're going to keep doing them, even if you say no. So, but no, we're going to have some fun here. We're going to create some really valuable content. We're going to do some training. We're going to keep you up to date with the news. It is going to be AI for everyone, which is a marketer is cringe, right? Hey, everyone's your market. Nobody's your market. But I think in this case, everybody needs this information, and we want to get it to you in some form. So that's an important call. I think that's the sign. Are you ready to call it a day?
Let's call it a day.
All right. My name is Harrison Painter. I don't know if we have it here, but until next time, keep creating, keep innovating, and most importantly, keep up.
Peace out.